Hi there, Evil Space Bunny here with Akliz Hosting, and I had the very special privilege of getting to talk to Exa, the maintainer and fixer extraordinaire of the Omni Factory mod pack. Please enjoy this lovely chat that we had talking about all things Minecraft and everything related to Omni Factory. Thanks. Hello everyone, welcome on in. How are you guys doing? I'm here today with Exa. They're from Omni Factory, and they're lovely and wonderful, right, Exa?
Thank you.
But today we will be interviewing Exa. He maintains and has done a ton of work on Omni Factory. A wonderful, what would you phrase it as? Like a hardcore light, but I feel like it is hardcore, but it's not as hardcore as some of the scary ones.
Well, it's an expert pack that's focused around Greg Tech, but we take away the grind and some of the more uh, difficult aspects, I guess you could say.
Fair.
It's something of an expert pack that's tailored at people that have a little bit of knowledge with modded and then can become really good at the pack even without having a whole lot of experience to begin with.
I think yeah, that's definitely the way to put it. I've told you this, and I've mentioned this before in passing. I'm not the best tech person, but I try really hard, and I did get pretty far in this mod pack. I didn't finish it because I don't think I've ever truly finished a mod pack. I don't think you ever truly finish a mod pack to begin with, but yeah.
Well, we do have an end game goal, so there is a way to finish it,
There is a
and
finish.
it's pretty much having creative in survival mode. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
pretty nice.
That is
Yeah.
kind of cool. That's
Yep.
definitely cool. I kind of like the
Yeah,
idea
kind
of
of
that.
the halfway point of the pack is the creative tank,
Mm-hmm.
which lets you store an infinite amount of any fluid, which kind of changes the dynamics for the end game.
Oh
And
yeah.
then the end game final goal is the creative vending upgrade for storage drawers, which allows
Oh,
you to put in any item into a drawer and then get out as many of that item as you want.
okay. Yeah, I think I remember this now.
Mhm.
I think I was making the tank last time I played it, which was
Yeah.
like only a couple of weeks ago. So
hmm
I felt like I didn't get that far, but I guess I got further than I remember. But
Someone who really knows what they're doing, playing, a good few hours a day, it might take them about a month or so to get to tank.
yeah, that's fair. Let's see. But anyway, we have some lovely questions that we're going to grill you on, everything from Minecraft directly down to your pack. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's start with the basics. When did you start playing Minecraft?
So I started playing, I think it was back in 125. I kind of got pulled into it. A bunch of friends were saying, "Hey, let's play this game," and I had no idea about what it was. I think I had seen some people in like the computer lab at college playing it, and it was just kind of like, okay, that's a thing.
Mhm.
But my friends wanted to play it, and so they got me in, and I had no idea what I was doing because I'd never played it before. And they were kind of going out exploring, killing stuff and whatnot, and I was kind of content to just like build stuff back at home and set up a giant farm so that we didn't starve to death and all that fun stuff.
You were the little base person. You made sure everybody had a nice home and they were fed.
Yep, pretty much.
I feel like I hear that a lot with a lot of people getting dragged into Minecraft by their friends. They're like, "Oh, I'm aware of the situation and it's there," but then somebody like grabs your hand and like drags you into it.
Well, I did enjoy it. I just didn't really know too much of what I was doing. Wasn't aware of any of the game mechanics or anything because I was pulled in like pretty much totally blind. So
Hmm.
I just was kind of more in my element, just kind of playing Legos with the blocks and you know, doing that sort of thing.
That's definitely a good way to describe it. It's like it is like Legos almost. All right.
Yeah,
What is one of your first real memories of the game?
probably. I would have to say it's when I first got into modded. Um, my group of friends and I, uh, we played 125 vanilla, and I don't remember if we played modded at all in 125, but I know for sure we did in 147. And I think it was like the original Tekkit or something like that. And we had equivalent exchange and build craft pipes and the fun EMC dupes with blaze rods and
Yeah.
all that good stuff. And I remember having a good time with that, and we played it a whole lot. And then kind of over the years, we kind of jumped through the versions. We played, the 147, then 152, then 164, and we were always playing just kind of the big, kitchen sink mod packs, usually Tekkit or FTB. And then I think the last one we kind of all did as a group was Feed the Beast Infinity Expert, but like super early on when Thermal hadn't even been updated to 1710 yet. And I recently went back and replayed it, and it's like a totally different pack now. So that was interesting.
It's amazing how some people continue to like update, like especially some of like the older beloved packs, and they're still getting updated even to these day to like this day.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
It's really nice and refreshing to see. Okay. So, what are some of your favorite features of Minecraft?
Well, I think that I'm a little different than most in that my focus is really entirely on modded. Like, I get a little bored playing just vanilla.
Same.
So probably my favorite feature of Minecraft is that it was written in Java, so people were able to figure out how to add mods onto it unofficially. uh, that way, you can add whatever kind of stuff you think should be in the game to the game, and you can really do some cool stuff with that, as evidenced by the wide variety of mod packs that are out there.
Yeah, for sure. There's like so many different mod packs nowadays. It's crazy. It's all over the place. You do have like your
Hmm.
hyper focus ones, and then you have your like throw it at a wall and see what sticks kind of mod pack as well.
Yeah, very true.
All right. What would you say is your least favorite feature of Minecraft?
You know, I've never really been fond of kind of the combat or the food mechanics in Minecraft, and that's why I often play on peaceful mode, just so I don't have to worry about either of those things.
Hmm.
And that was kind of one of the fun things about Omni Factory is that it's an expert pack, but it's set up so that you can play it completely through on peaceful mode, and never actually run into any problems. Like it's expected that you can do it. So that was one of the things that drew me to it initially.
Yeah, I think that's how I played through it with my community the first time we played it.
Hmm.
And it just made it a lot easier. I will say that.
Yeah, not having to worry about monsters coming out after you, especially in the lost cities where things can get kind of
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, the last cities are like one of my favorite features, and just like you get to kind of explore, and it's not as a nightmare.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Do you have a favorite version of Minecraft?
Um, I mean, right now I'd say it's probably 112 because, that's what we're developing Omnifactory in.
Hmm.
And I mean, by far I've played this pack more than any other. Like, I've got some ungodly amount of hours on, various versions and dev snapshots and things. And uh, only a chunk of that is from all the testing that we do. But prior to that, it, kind of my thing was my computer that I had up until very recently was very low spec. I had a processor from 2008 and I had 6 gigs
Wow.
of RAM. So I could not do a whole lot. Like
No.
I couldn't even have Discord open at the same time as playing Minecraft. So one of the things that I ran into with 1710 back when I was last playing it with my friends was it would take a half an hour to start up, and back then when I was using Windows, occasionally it would blue screen when I was trying to start it up. And then when it did finally finish loading, it would kind of memory leak itself to death in about 2 hours, and then I'd have to restart it. So it
Uh-huh.
just became untenable. I
Yeah.
just couldn't do it.
No.
So after that, I mainly went back and played on 164, and I've put tons and tons of hours into 164, just various things on that version, and it's a lot of fun. Although that was kind of the height of the MJRF war, so
Oh,
lots of power converters involved.
yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was a thing.
It was a thing. Yeah, it's funny how crazy like the Minecraft community has come and like all the different like crazy things that have happened along the way, and it's been out for so long you just kind of forget about it. It's like, oh, that was like, 7, 8 years ago or whatever, and yeah.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I look at the timestamps of my screenshots that I still have from way back then, and it's like 2013. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it was that long ago.
Yeah, I found some of my like older mod pack folders, and I was like looking through my screenshots the other day. I found some of them from like Feed the Beast Ultima and like Feed the
Oh yeah,
Beast.
yeah.
Uh, oh
Monster maybe.
yeah, I think so. There was just like a bunch
Mhm.
of random ones, but they were all Feed the Beast packs. But
Yep.
did you ever see yourself becoming a mod pack creator?
You know, honestly, I never really did. It kind of fell into my lap a little bit. Uh, it it just sort of came out of nowhere. I hadn't really ever thought about it much, and you know, had it not been for Omni Factory, I don't know that I would have done it.
You told me a little bit about this, how you got started helping with like fixing stuff, right?
Yeah. So what happened was I started playing Omni Factory in 2019, and originally the pack was made by Damien, and big shout out to him for making this amazing pack for us to work on. And I found out about it from, I think it was a Direwolf 20 Let's Play. I watched like the first couple episodes, and I was like, this pack sounds like exactly what I would be into. And I started playing in, I think, version 105, and then I just got super addicted. I was playing it like crazy. And fast forward a couple months, and it's September of 2019, and the pack is up to version 121 by then. And Damien was kind of working towards 1.3, and also on like some early stages of Omega mode.
Yeah.
But then there were kind of development delays and things of that nature, and so I decided to kind of look into it and see if I could fix some of the things that were annoying me. And like one of the things that drove me nuts was the titanium processing loop. The chemistry involved there made absolutely no sense, and it just irked me. So I basically taught myself how to figure out the Zen script that's used for Craft Tweaker,
Hmm.
and then I kind of went through and I fixed a couple things that were kind of bothering me, and like that chemistry thing, and then various other things people pointed out to me that just weren't quite right. And then the other thing that I did was a little bit later. I I tried to see if I could update the version of GregTech that we were on, but it couldn't happen. There were too many changes between 184 and 185. So I I basically took the code and then went through and cherry picked little bits of fixes from the newer version and put it back into the older one so that we would have the fixes for a couple things, like robot arms resetting their settings whenever you restarted the game, which was super annoying.
Yeah.
And so what I did was, over the course of the couple months that I was doing that, I would take those scripts and the custom jars for GregTech, and I I made what I was calling fix zips at the time, and I was posting them in the Discord community for Omnifactory, and that way we were able to kind of patch 121 and make it a little more, smoothed out, and
A little more stable.
yeah, just less bugs that were annoying people and causing problems. And that was kind of where I got my start with the whole mod pack dev thing. And then I kind of got busy for the holidays, around November or so. So I wasn't around much for a month or two.
Yeah.
And then come January of 2020, I got, I think somebody from the Discord kind of DM'd me. They're like, "Hey, Damien's looking for somebody to take over the pack." And I was like, "Wait, really?" And so I looked into it and I talked to him, and he said that he kind of liked the stuff I had been doing,
Mm-hmm.
uh, thought that I was capable of picking it up if I was interested, and I said sure. And so about halfway through the month, he kind of handed me the keys to the car, as it were, and then we had some other people that were interested in helping, and uh, we kind of formed a dev team out of that, and you know we went forward and released 122 in April of 2020, and ever since then we've been working on 1.3 and got our dev snapshots going.
Still chugging along on 1.3.
Yep, a little bit at a time, but we'll get there eventually.
Eventually, I mean, it's happening, and you're still working on it, and you have such an active community. I'm sure they're patiently waiting.
Uh, some patiently, some less patiently, but it's all good.
It's all
We're
good.
trying.
I believe in it. I believe you guys will. You'll get it out. You'll get it out real Sunday or something.
Yeah, yeah, that's our inside joke in the server is next Sunday.
Excellent.
And it comes back from when Damien said that 1.3 was going to come out next Sunday. And then every week people were like, is it going to come out? And it's like, next Sunday.
Next Sunday. I love that.
So, yeah, it's kind of our version of soon TM.
Yeah.
So, just kind of a inside joke in our Discord.
It just works. Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. What is a project that somebody else has done that you admire?
Well, there's a whole bunch of different ones that I think are really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Greg Tech Community Edition is what this pack is built around. So I think that's definitely an interesting thing, and they've done some cool work with that.
Mm-hmm.
We've been in touch with them a lot and worked with them on things. But right now, there's a team of people. Uh, they're originally working on Gregicality, which is like an extension for Greg Tech CE.
Mm-hmm.
But their current project is a thing called Greg Tech Community Edition Unofficial, or GTCEU.
Mm-hmm.
And what they're doing with that is they're like completely rewriting GTCE so that it has a whole bunch of like new features, and like completely retrofitting the code base to support better extensibility. And I mean, they've been on such a rapid development cycle, like it boggles the mind. They're doing all sorts of cool stuff over there. So
Yeah.
that's definitely one of them. Uh, the other big one I would say is Prototype Trousers has a fork of Applied Energistics 2 called Trousers Edition, or
That's
sometimes just
right.
shortened to Pants AE2. And he, the way that it happened is we noticed in Omnifactory 121 that we have channels disabled in AE2 because we have so much automation that with channels it would just kind of get really tedious to set everything up.
Right.
So we disable channels, and we discovered that once your network gets pretty big, you start to lag a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you'll place down a Fluix cable, and then 10 seconds later, your game will start responding again, which it gets a little hard to work with.
Yeah.
So a guy named Talchus, he came out with a patch for that that fixed the like it kind of optimized the channel, like the channelless networks, like remapping where devices are,
Hmm.
and it went from like tens of seconds to practically instantaneous, even on like a giant network. So that was really cool.
That is really
And
cool.
then yeah, so props to him for doing that. And that was one of the things people were using for a while before prototype browsers came into the scene. And what he's done with it since is he's added just crazy amounts of quality of life stuff. He's made like integration with JEI that we think works better than just enough energistics, which is usually the companion mod that you have alongside it.
Yeah.
Um, and he's got all sorts of just like crazy features that are just super amazing, and you practically can't live without once you've had them. So it's like anytime I play a pack for 112 that uses applied energistics, like RV6 stable 7, I think is the last version. um, I basically just swap it out for his version because it's just so much better.
I mean, if it's more efficient and it works better, obviously that's a quick and easy choice, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, just you can't not use it once you've used it. So it's a lot of fun, and we have it as part of our development snapshots officially. And so once 1.3 comes out, it's going to ship with that version of AE2.
Oh
So people
wow,
aren't going to
okay.
have to like go find it and download it themselves or anything silly like that.
Yeah, that'll make it a lot easier for everyone, I think.
Hmm.
Okay, so where do you see Minecraft in the next 5 years?
Oh gosh. Uh, it's tough to say. I mean, they're always doing, different things with the game. Uh, I honestly don't follow vanilla all that much, but hopefully there'll be another version like 112 where there's a good modded ecosystem and everybody can kind of gravitate towards that for a while.
Yeah,
Maybe 116 or 118, time will tell, but we'll see where it goes.
definitely. Yeah, I feel like out of both of well, like we don't know where 118 is gonna go since it's so new, but I feel like 116 is gonna be a little comfy zone for a lot of people for a while.
Yeah, here's hoping.
Here's hoping.
He's, I mean, there certainly seems to be a number of mods that are targeting that version, so it seems like there's something going on there. So hopefully.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so where do you see yourself in 5 years in the Minecraft community?
Well, hopefully working on, Omnifactory or related things, and hopefully still working with my amazing dev team. Without them, we wouldn't have got even remotely as much done. Like, those guys are just amazing and have done so much to help out. I I can't even imagine trying to do all this on my own.
Yeah, no, for sure. Having a great team behind you that like carries you when necessary and helps whenever they can is like a godsend, honestly.
Oh yeah. I mean, those guys are just so great. Uh I mean, shout outs to all of them, I guess. There's Neve, who is he's done like all the build automation, and he helps out with like graphics stuff, like our infographics that we do for releases.
Mhm.
And he also does a lot of stuff with the quest book, helping rearrange it so that it doesn't look like a complete mess of spaghetti. Like our major quest book updates, like I go through and I fix all the text and I do that kind of editing, but he makes it look nice. So big props to him for that.
Oh yeah.
And then we've got Utro, who he wrote the mod. Well, actually, he wrote a couple mods that we've added since. One is Dynamistics, which it shows like what's inside of patterns
Oh,
for applied energistics,
okay.
and packaged auto. So it makes it really easy to like copy a pattern and that sort of thing, because you can use JEI to like look up what's in it. So that's kind
Mhm.
of cool. Um, the other big one that he did was multi-block tweaker. And in the dev snapshots towards 1.3, we've switched from using modular machinery to using multi-block tweaker. And what that lets us do is have custom multi-block machines
Uh-huh.
that are like native GregTech machines. So they have all of the benefits of them, like using machine covers, using the very flexible layouts. The controllers can be turned on and off with like machine controller covers, and a big one is overclocking. A lot of people like that now you can overclock microminers, so you can
Yeah.
make them go super fast relative to what you could before.
And a
So
bigger
that whole
server.
thing has been amazing. And we've added a couple new multi-blocks from that, so that's been a big thing. And definitely can't forget about a long string of numbers, or Alson as I often call him because his name is too long to type. And yeah, he's done a huge amount of work on Greg Tech and Shadows of Greg, which we took over maintaining back in December. And he's done probably like 6 solid months of work getting us from the old version of Greg Tech in 1.2.2 to the latest version that we're working on
Wow.
um, in our dev snapshots for 1.3. And I mean, he's been contributing a lot to like the Greg Tech related projects, like their code. So they really like him over there. And yeah, I mean, he like the amount of work that it took to go from Greg Tech 184 to I think it was 110 at the time
Hmm.
was huge. And also a shout out to the guy that took over maintaining Greg Tech CE at the time for working with us closely so that we could actually pull that off. Because otherwise, it would have been even worse trying to make it happen and still get it to work the way we needed it to.
That's
And yeah, I guess those guys are kind of like the core of the dev team, and I'm super thankful to all the stuff that they do. And a couple of the friends of the dev team are Dan, or I guess he goes by D Strand One on GitHub or something like that. Uh, he regularly contributes things to us. We've worked with him a lot on the various Greg Tech related things, and he's fixed a lot of the weird chemistry exploits and bugs in Greg Tech. We've kind of worked with him on that, and he's really involved in the unofficial project for Greg Tech right now. So he's doing a lot with that. And then there's also, I mean, Prototype Trousers, who I've mentioned before. He's contributed a lot of stuff. And there's also Fontamanta. I think that's how you pronounce his name. And he's contributed a few different things too.
Mhm.
And like one of the things he did was he completely rewrote how the fusion reactor code works. So that's been really helpful, and
Wow.
we definitely appreciate that. And
That's
yeah, so I think that's everybody. I hope I'm not leaving anybody out, and if I am, I apologize.
regardless, it sounds like you have like such an amazing team that's very passionate about this project and continues to want to see this like move along and keep going. That's oh, I am honestly impressed because like
Oh yeah.
I've heard of from a lot of other teams and stuff, not necessarily like in an interview, but like through the channels of like being in Minecraft for so long. And usually there's like a lot of struggle fest from what I've understood. And to hear you have like such an amazing team is very refreshing and loving to hear, honestly.
Yeah, no, I'm super thankful to have all of them helping me out, and you know, I'm truly blessed with these guys. They're so good. I mean, just I can't possibly say it enough.
Yeah.
And we have disagreements on things here and there, as any group does, but
Yeah.
we always work it through, and I don't think there's any bad blood, and I hope to keep it that way.
I hope you guys keep it that way, especially and seen through the rest of Omni Factory and work on the next thing. All right.
Yeah.
Next question. If you woke up one day and Minecraft wasn't a thing, what would you see yourself doing?
Uh, Gosh, it's hard to say. It's become so much of my time these days.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, it's like a major creative outlet, and I spend almost all of my free time doing stuff related to Omnifactory or the various mods that we support. And yeah, I can hardly imagine what it would be like without it. But I'm sure I'd find something, probably some game to spend infinity hours on that isn't Minecraft.
Something to put your creative outlet into.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always, those kind of side projects that every developer gets into, and you know, sometimes they finish it, sometimes they don't, but you know, everybody's got a backlog of things that, you know, maybe they could go finish one day.
Yeah, I think all of us have that kind of backlog in our lives.
Yeah.
Okay. What makes you feel like a project is done? And when you're ready to move on from it, is there a project that you've abandoned, since we're talking about this, that you wish you could go back to?
Well, as far as when a project is done, I'd say it's when there's kind of like a start and a finish, and it's really well defined. It doesn't really need anything new to be added to it for it to be good.
Yeah.
And there's no like major showstopper bugs so that somebody can just kind of play it from start to finish without having anything just blow up in their face and be super weird. Um, I'd say that like the base pack is approaching that. Uh, with 1.3, that's intended to be kind of our, you know, like possibly the last major update to
Mm-hmm.
Omnifactory itself. Of course, we'll still do, bug patches and triage work kind of thing. But
Yeah.
what we want to focus on next is developing Omega mode, which is we're planning to use the Greg Tech unofficial for that. And that should be kind of, more challenging, more intricate and interesting, so it'll be harder than the base pack, but
Mm-hmm.
we still hope to maintain the same philosophy of all of the complexity, none of the grind, as Damien so well put it with
Yeah.
the original release. And as that's kind of our general idea for the future.
That's
Um,
exciting, honestly.
yeah, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That should be interesting. Um, but as far as kind of like side projects that one of these days maybe go back to and finish. I guess the only thing I can really think of is I started making like a damage calculator program for like a phone game that I've played for way too long called Puzzle and Dragons, and you know it's got a whole complex damage calculation system, and I
Mm-hmm.
I started making something on it to kind of teach myself the Java FX framework for graphics front ends, and I just so many things kept happening. I got sidetracked, and I'd go back to it, and then I'd stop for a few months, then I'd go back to it, and I haven't touched it in quite a while at this point. So maybe one of these days I'll go back and finish that, but who knows?
Maybe. Maybe. You never know. You might
Yeah,
get that feeling to finish it. For
yeah.
sure. Okay, so I have some more mod pack specific questions for you here. Um, how does your mod
Okay.
pack differ from other Greg Tech and Hardcore Tech mod packs? And you've kind of answered it a little bit, but I want you to kind of elaborate.
Yeah. So the big things I think that set us apart from most other kind of more expert style like Greg Tech focus packs is for starters we have removed a lot of the really grindy elements
Yeah.
and made it so that you're not having to go out hunting down some particular resource, for hours, scouring the world, you know. It's like, gosh, I can't find mica or whatever. I mean, not that it's a thing in this version of Greg Tech, but anybody who's played New Horizons probably will understand. And you know, what we have is a system with our quest book where when you complete quests, instead of getting things like random rewards, which can totally break the game, and I'm not really a fan of that,
Yeah.
we give out Omni coins, which is a currency for kind of safety netting against bad RNG or just giving you an out if you want to be a little bit lazy about things. Um, so, like early on in the game, you're like, oh gosh, I got to go mine more copper. or do I? I can just buy some. So you can just, buy yourself some ores through a crafting grid recipe, and in that way, you don't have to go hunting down things and spend hours mining if you're not into that. But I mean, you can if you want.
Yeah.
But for those that would rather stay in their base and never leave, uh, it's certainly viable in this pack. I think after medium voltage, you pretty much never have to mine again if you don't want to. uh, so that would be the big thing is, we give kind of these safety nets, and there's also, we revert a lot of the kind of the changes to vanilla stuff, like, nerfing the amount of wood planks you get if you don't use a saw, or various little things like that. And we also skip the, oh god, I need more clay portion of the game, where the Steam Age, where it's you have to go mine clay and then realize you still need to mine more clay, and then
It's
even
never
then you
enough.
still need to go mine more clay,
It's never
so
enough.
you can set it. Oh yeah, it's never enough,
It's
so that
never.
you can set up, your primitive uh like Steam Age stuff, and then progress through all that. And it's, oh god, you need so much clay for all that, and then you have to wait so long for everything. And just, I think Damien had the right of it. He opted to just skip that whole section of Greg Tech entirely and go straight into low voltage, and that way you get kind of into the meat and potatoes of Greg Tech, instead of having to uh, rough it through the portion that usually gets most people to quit before they get through the end.
Yeah.
And I guess on that note, probably the third thing that sets us apart from most other packs is we have spent a massive amount of time on the quest book. We've tried, instead of having it be kind of like a checklist or just kind of like a general thing of like, okay, that's kind of what I need to do next, and I'll have to figure out how to do that.
Hmm.
We've tried to make the quest book like an encyclopedia. So somebody that has no idea anything about Greg Tech, but has like a little bit of knowledge about kind of the more popular mods like thermal, or those sorts of things. As long as you've got a little bit of modded experience, you can come into this expert pack, and by the end of it, you should be really well versed in Greg Tech and know exactly what you're doing. And I'd say probably that combination of things is what really sets us aside from the other tech packs.
I will say that I do love that feature about your mod pack is the quest book, because like I'm bad at tech and I've mentioned this already like a million times, but it saved my life, and it's probably the only thing that kept me going because of the way that you guys worded everything and you explained everything a lot better than most other quest packs, I feel.
Mm,
And it just
yeah.
made it a lot more easier to streamline things.
Yeah, and that's kind of the goal. Is we want the quest book to lead you through everything that you need to know, so that you're never caught off guard about anything. Like, pretty much through Creative Tank, everything is like super detailed in how we explain it. And then after Creative Tank, we just kind of guide you to the things you should be working on to get to the end game. Because
Yeah.
by then, you know all the tricks of the trade, and it's just a matter of figuring out how to most efficiently automate everything.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Okay. With all the other tech focused mod packs, what do you do differently to make your pack stand out? So, how do you make Omni Factory stand out compared to other heavily, I guess, other great techs?
Uh, well, I think it's mostly the same sort of things that we were just talking about. Really, it's the very detailed quest book,
Mm-hmm.
the removal of kind of the grindy and vanilla nerfs, and skipping the Steam Age, just kind of getting you into the meat of Greg Tech, so that you don't have to deal with the kind of slow and arduous parts that normally turn a lot of people off of Greg Tech, because the vast majority of people kind of hit that wall of, I think Dan said in the chat there, 768 clay dust, and they go, okay, maybe this isn't for me.
Yeah,
So hopefully Omnifactory can get a lot more people to see how cool Greg Tech actually is, and you know, uh, you know, find a love for it, as it were.
make it less scary. For sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely one thing that we focus a lot on.
For sure. Okay, with most of your mods and like the pack being based around tech, do you only ever plan on doing tech mod packs?
Uh, Tech is really kind of the thing that I'm most interested in personally. I've played a lot of kind of various packs over the years. I've done like hard magic system mods like Thaumcraft and some more kind of like magic themed tech sorts of things like Botania or Astral Sorcery. And they're interesting, but they're not really quite my thing.
Hmm.
Sometimes they're really hard to automate and they have some just kind of RNG or nuisance mechanics that just aren't my thing. And I've also played, uh, like, I found out about the original Divine Journey from some people telling me about how good it was. So I went back and I tried it out. And, you know, it seems like it's a well put together pack, but it's really just not for me because it seems
Yeah.
like it's all magic and exploration and combat. And
Yeah.
those are like exactly the things that I'm not into. So, yeah, I think mostly I would want to focus on tech, but
Mhm.
I'm open to kind of experimenting with some of the kind of softer magic type mods and seeing what
Ooh.
kind of interesting mechanics we could maybe do with that.
Okay. Okay. I like that. I like the idea of that. That would be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Smash them all together. Let's see here. Any future projects you're secretly working on that you want to give us a sneak peek into? Do you want to talk about Omega more a little bit?
uh yeah, I mean, it's not exactly a secret that we're working on Omega mode, but that's really the only thing that we have in kind of the initial future plans. When we finish with 1.3, we're going to focus, except for kind of like a triage capacity, on authoring Omega mode, and that way we'll be able to have kind of like a clean slate to work with, and we're going to
Mm-hmm.
try and make it have kind of the spirit of Omnifactory, but more challenging and more intricate, but still try to have it fun and not grindy for the sake of grind. And so we'll see what we can do with that, and hopefully we'll pull it off.
I'm excited. I'll definitely try it. I'll do my best.
Yeah.
Okay. What features are you most proud about in Omni Factory? Or
Well,
just around the mod pack
probably.
around?
Uh, yeah. I mean, definitely the. Well, as far as the pack itself, I would say the quest book we spent a crazy amount of time on to try and make it really good.
Yeah.
Uh, we've also made it so that it can run on like pretty much a absolute potato of a computer, which was great for me. Uh, like we've tried to cut all the bloat and fix all the lag and do all that sort of thing. So we try to have like a really stable and smooth running pack. And actually, kind of a funny anecdote is I had a server running on Akliz for Omnifactory 122,
Mm-hmm.
and I forgot that I had it running one time, and I came back to it like a couple months later, and
A
it was
couple
still running
months.
totally fine. Yeah, a few months later,
Oh
and
my god.
I looked at the deep mob learning. Yeah, months. Uh, I looked at the deep mob learning simulation chambers because they have like a counter in them that it's like every 15 seconds it completes a cycle, and
Yeah.
some of them were up to like over a million iterations. It was kind of insane. Uh, but I was real surprised it was still running, and just came back into it and I was like, oh wow, okay,
I'm
that's cool.
surprised.
So yeah, that I'm I'm always impressed how stable Omnifactory runs if you don't run into like some extremely esoteric bug. Like you can just leave it running for weeks on end and not have to restart. It's really nice.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys like really worked out those kinks. Like really iron. You took the iron and then it wasn't ironed enough, and you put more starch, and then you ironed it again.
Yeah, we're certainly trying to. Um, there's little things here and there, and we're trying to kind of phase out some mods that we're barely using,
Mm-hmm.
like forestry, for example. In 1.3, we're staging its removal, and then in like a subsequent minor update, we'll remove it proper.
Mm-hmm.
But we always make sure that if we're removing something, we have a release version in between uh, where we kind of deprecate the items, which
Yeah.
is like a programmer term. I don't know if it's common, but yeah, we basically add ways for people to turn the items that are going to disappear into ones that are going to stick around.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, like with forestry, for example, all we were really using from that mod were like the pulsating mesh, pulsating dust, and the work tables. So we had this whole mod that we were implementing and then using craft tweaker scripts to remove everything. And I was like, this seems a little silly. And so we just made custom versions of the two pulsating items. And then Greg Tech actually added kind of like a work table, but it also has tool slots for all the Greg Tech tools.
Mm-hmm.
And it can see stuff in adjacent inventories. So we determined that that's a perfectly suitable replacement for the forestry work tables. So yeah, that was kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, and Dan saying the silly glasses from forestry. Yeah, there's like a little cosmetic item from forestry that for some reason we still had it enabled. I don't know if there was an actual reason, but
No,
it
they're
was
just
just kind of
cute.
there.
They're just
Yeah,
cute.
I think it's for like seeing some sort of information on trees and stuff if you're doing like the botany aspects, but that whole module is not even enabled, so it wouldn't even serve a purpose.
They're just cute. Yeah, absolutely.
It,
Do you have any like big regrets when it comes to the mod pack? Like mods that you wanted to implement but you couldn't make work or anything like that?
um,
It sounds like you went through hell and high water just to make everything literally work the way it works.
yeah, I mean, I think the only regret I really have is just how long we're taking to get it out, just
Yeah.
because life finds a way to do that. But as far as like all the stuff that we've wanted to put in the pack, everything that we've really looked through and kind of investigated, we've managed to get in one way or another.
Hmm.
Like if a mod has like a major bug and it's got a permissive license and they're no longer fixing it, then we've made a fork of that mod, and we've done that for a couple different mods like dimensional edibles and extended crafting. Um, oh, and more furnaces is another
Yeah.
one that we did. And because there were just some weird bugs with them that people were running into, and we're like, I think we can fix this. So we opted to do that. And other times when they're mods that are still in active development, it's been, you know, we've been helped out a lot by the developers of those mods. The people are, usually real friendly, and we do bug reports or we'll submit a pull request to, fix it for them. And everybody in the modding community has been really great in my experience, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, that's awesome, honestly. Okay. I have one more question that I have written here, and then we have some questions from chat.
All
So,
right.
if you could work with any game developer, content creator, or Minecraft modder, who would it be and why?
Oh gosh.
I know.
You know, it's tough to say. You know, all the people that I've, you know, you see like these big mods that are out there, and you think of these people as kind of like celebrities of a sort. Whenever I've gone to reach out to talk to one of them, they've all been really friendly and really cool, and I've been able to work with them in one way or another. So they seem unreachable maybe, but at the end of the day, all of us are just people. So you know everybody that I've really aspired to get in touch with and work with in a direct way, I think I've already been able to, frankly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the kind of everybody in the modding community, they're they're very accommodating and friendly in general, I would say. So, I've been real happy and had a pleasant experience working with everybody.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. I'm glad it's been a good experience. Okay. So we do have a few questions. Let's see.
Hmm.
Marksman, I'm probably saying his name wrong. Marksman. In regards to the length of completion, would you be able to have a time comparison between Omnifactory and ATM6 Star?
Uh, I don't actually know much about all the Mod 6,
I was just
so I
asking about
couldn't
that
really
too.
speculate.
How long do you think your pack takes for completion?
Somebody new to Omnifactory would maybe spend, I don't know, like 400 hours or so to
Wow.
get
Okay.
from the beginning to the end. Uh, People that are really well versed and know exactly what to do and kind of all the ins and outs, and it's like, maybe their fourth or fifth playthrough, uh, they could probably, practically speed run the pack. Um, I mean, not in any single session timeline, but
No.
maybe 100 hours.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Let's
Yeah.
see. Boomflex. He asked when Omnifactory 2 when was gonna happen.
Well, that's sort of what Omega mode is going to be.
Okay.
You could look at it like an Omni Factory too, I guess. And you know, I've kind of given up on trying to estimate timelines of things because every time I estimate it, we go over. I've just determined that I'm bad at estimating and kind of just said it'll be done when it's ready.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to do things, honestly.
Yeah, and I mean, at least with 1.3, there's the dev snapshots, and I know that a lot of people have been kind of, grabbing the dev snapshots and playing on those as they're ready. So that way, people are able to see what the latest changes are and keep up with all that. And we try to make it real easy for them. Like our build system, every time we make changes to the code base, it creates a client zip for importing into your launcher and a
Yeah.
server zip for starting up a server. So, and we also have a guide on our GitHub repository where it explains kind of like what the deal is with the dev snapshots and how
Hmm.
to copy, like which files to copy version to version so that you can do that easily. And a lot of people have had success in playing on the dev snapshots. And it's also really good for feedback because, every time you've got the latest changes, if something broke, like real quick, because people are right there playing it.
Yeah. Getting feedback from your community, I think, is super important, especially with Minecraft, because there's like one way that you'll play it, and then somebody else will play it similar but not quite the same, and then they'll find something really crazy.
Oh yeah, without other people, like there's so many play styles. Like you would never even think of the things that the people are doing that, they run into a bug somewhere and you go, "Oh, huh, how about that?" But yeah, no, our community is really great. We got a lot of people, and that was one of the things that kept me around initially was the Discord community was really active
Yeah.
and people were willing to help answer questions. Everybody was really supportive. And, some people are a little more curt in their responses to helping, but, everybody's kind of got their heart in the right place.
Yeah.
Uh, so, if you're stuck on something and, you are interested in joining the Discord and want help, people are absolutely willing to help. We've got a whole bunch of guides and things posted there. Various community submitted guides, sorts of things, and hopefully you'll be able to figure things out if you're stuck.
Nice. Very nice. It's good to have those guides because that's me, always getting stuck on something.
Yeah. Well, the meta has changed a whole bunch of times over the course of things as somebody's come up with like a really clever way to do something.
Hmm.
So that's been fun, kind of seeing how things have changed and gotten way more convenient and better and reliable over
Yeah.
the years.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. Okay. Somebody asked if you have a background in programming or chemistry, and that
uh,
incorporated it into the Omni development so well, or something. Yeah.
um, I do have a background in programming. I got a college degree in computer science, and I wasn't one of the colleges that's all theory and can't code your way out of a paper sack. But yeah, we were grilled pretty hard on code all the way through from start to finish, and so I definitely got my fair share of coding experience from that.
Yeah.
And in the years after that, I worked in industry for I think it was like about 4 years on kind of like enterprise Java type stuff. So I've definitely got deep into Java. So coming into Minecraft, I was, you know, I kind of knew what I was getting into with that sort of thing.
Yeah.
As far as chemistry, um, not so much. I mean, kind of in passing. I opted to take chemistry units rather than physics, mainly because my physics course, like the department, had some like just really asinine grading ideas. Uh, and yeah, it's a whole can of worms, way too long to get into. But needless to say, I avoided it like the plague and
Fair.
opted for chemistry. So I have a kind of a passing knowledge of chemistry from that. But really, kind of what rekindled my interest in that was all of the chemistry that's in Greg Tech.
Yeah.
And
The full periodic table and part of it.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, and like Dan and like I actually wrote Dan a little tool to help balance chemical equations, and I know they've used that a lot in Gregicality
Mm-hmm.
and for GTCEU to make sure that all the chemistry makes sense and you're getting like a balanced amount on either side of the equation, so that you don't have exploits or magically disappearing matter, that sort of fun stuff.
Very, very awesome. Here's a
Yeah.
question for me. Is that a hug pillow of Danny DeVito? Yes. There's a weird long story about it. I need a pillow for my knees at night because I'm an old lady, and I bought a body pillow, and I let some people pick out the case, and they picked Danny for me. So I have Danny. He's my knee holder. That's the story of Danny. I hang him up. I hang him up in the background later.
Yeah, I saw that back there, and I wasn't sure if that was just a picture, but I guess it's a pillow.
No, it's a pillow.
Okay.
Yeah, I have like you can't see it because like my name tag's hiding it, but I have like my Minecraft squid here. I have like a piggy bank, and then I have the creeper somewhere over
Ah,
there.
yeah, very
Anyway,
cool.
yeah. Let's see here. Somebody asked if you had to choose one mod over there, would it be thermal or Ender IO?
If I had to choose one mod,
Yeah.
like between the two mods,
Yeah.
um, oh gosh, that's tough to say. I mean, I've used thermal so many times over the years, and I've used Ender IO so many times over the years.
It's a
I
hard
think
choice.
in the context of Omnifactory, we definitely use Ender IO more.
Mhm.
Um, thermal is, I mean, we use it for power generation and for like a couple machines, but most of the recipes we've kind of offloaded to GregTech machines instead, because that's kind of the core of the pack.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ender IO conduits, at least like energy and fluid conduits, are really good.
Yeah.
The item conduits, I mean, they work, but I prefer like GregTech covers and stocked interfaces. They're so much more reliable.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. It's hard. I like there's certain things that I like about thermal, and then there's just Ender IO, and it's just superior in so many ways for other things. But
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to pick one or the other because, just they've both been around for a long time and they've both been so incredibly important in all the packs that they're in for,
yeah.
power transfer and, ore processing and crafting all sorts of cool stuff. So it's hard to really pick one or the other.
Yeah.
Uh, as far as Omni goes, we definitely lean a little more into Ender IO. but then again, thermal is where numismatic dynamos come from, and those are kind of a huge part of the energy production
Yeah.
pipeline for progression. So, tough to say, really.
Fair enough. Okay, Arcana asked this. Have you ever had a mod you take your fork changes and then add that to the main mod?
uh, I don't know that we have, because when we fork mods, we specifically try to do it for ones that we've determined either like there's been like an official statement that they're no longer working on 112, or that there's just been no activity for a very long time and we kind of assume that they haven't been worked on for 112.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the closest thing was we did a pull request to dimensional edibles that it kind of sat there for a long time, and we kind of figured that it wasn't going anywhere, like maybe the guy had stopped working on it.
Mm-hmm.
So we forked that and implemented our changes, and then we realized our changes weren't quite good enough, so we did like a whole bunch more work on it. And then the guy actually came back and then accepted the pull request that we had, and then like started working on his own thing, and then changed the license. It was kind of a whole like weird thing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the problem with changing the license is then it becomes incompatible with our stuff. So then now you can't do sharing between the two different forks. So like, I don't really get it, but it's his mod, so he can do whatever.
Yeah.
But our fork was made when it was still GPL v3 or whatever, so that code is out there. Anybody can do with it pretty much what they want.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's a little awkward to be in that position. Okay, let's see here. What's your favorites or and least favorite Minecraft mod code base to work on? That one's by Dan. Dan.
Oh goodness, favorite versus least favorite. Wow. Huh. Now that's a tough question. All of the code bases are just like, they have very different approaches to how they do things.
Mhm.
It's hard to really rate them better or worse. I guess I mean, I don't want to throw shade on anybody. That's the thing. Like, there's
Oh,
code bases that have been like ported from older versions, and like the code base has been around so long that there's like a lot of cruft, and sometimes it takes a lot of work to fix things.
yeah.
Like I mean, it's not like a bad thing, it's just kind of is. Um like, I know we've had to do lots and lots of things to kind of work around some weird stuff in like Shadows of Greg, like with the processing array, and um, the Fonta actually he rewrote like all of the code for the fusion reactor, and that was a big help.
Mhm.
So I mean, there's like some just like cruft in the code base because it's old and we had to like rewrite some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, that wasn't necessarily bad per se. I guess, like, yeah, like Dan saying in chat, more furnaces. That code base was certainly interesting, shall we say? Um,
A polite
but
way to
I
put it.
mean, yeah, I mean, it was just approached in kind of an unusual way, and there's just a better way to do it, more so. So like Dan kind of rewrote the whole mod more or less. But it mostly worked fine for what the guy wanted it to do, and it's kind of like a vanilla plus type mod,
Yeah.
so it wasn't super crazy, and we managed to fix it, so it wasn't a huge deal.
Good job, Dan.
But
Dan's the noodle man.
yeah, but I mean, as far as like most favorite, as far as like mods go, that's tough to say, because I mean, like, a lot of them are like pretty good,
Mhm.
um, and there, you always run into kind of like weird stuff. Like somebody did something a way you would have like never thought to try and do it. or something like that, or there's like an esoteric bug and you find out that it's because of, some way that the code is structured.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's usually nothing like super major. Um, so I mean, like, I've worked a fair bit on like Shadows of Greg, Greg Tech CE. Um, I've done a bit of work on uh, extended crafting. Um, we've done a decent chunk of stuff with dimensional edibles, and Dan helped us out with some of that too. And I mean, all of those code bases are like they're pretty good. I
Yeah.
mean, as far as like a hobbyist code base goes, you don't expect it to be like perfect by any stretch. So, you know, the bar is not super high. But it certainly hasn't been like frustrating to work on most of the things that we've had to.
Nice. Very nice. It's always, well, I mean, with Minecraft, most of the people I feel like are self taught when it comes to programming, and they don't
Yeah.
necessarily have a degree. So, like, to look at somebody else's work, it's always interesting to see how they do it. I worked in the food industry for a long time, so to see other people's recipes or like home cook recipes come up to me and
Hmm.
like pick them apart and like try to be nice about it as best as I could.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I can definitely relate. Okay, so we have a couple more things here. What's your favorite item in Omnifactory to automate and why?
Oh gosh, favorite to automate. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's tough to say. I guess probably the first like really big major automation milestone
Mm-hmm.
is making it so AE2 can automate stuff to make more AE2. Uh, that way you can kind of have it so that instead of having to manually craft all the various things, you can expand your crafting system through the computer, like just by telling it, hey, make me an interface or make me a molecular assembler, that type of thing.
Yeah,
So I think it's less like a single item and more just like getting
AE2 automation.
AE2 able to make more of itself. Like that's probably my favorite part because then your progress like explodes in terms of how fast you can automate things.
Oh yeah, for sure. Conquest and chat put meta automation. I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Somebody did ask, what's the strangest Omni bug report that you've seen so far?
Strangest bug report. Oh wow. Uh that's hard to say. We've had so many bug reports that we've gone into and addressed over the years.
There one that stands out like above the rest?
Uh gosh, I don't even know. I mean, we've had like a lot of bug reports on GitHub. We've had a lot of people asking questions in our support channel in Discord, and sometimes those get turned into bug tickets on GitHub.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that any particular one stands out especially to me. I mean, I'd probably have to go looking back through it to find something to like remind me.
Fair. Okay. Okay. Somebody asked why you didn't add mechanism.
Well, in part because it would be really redundant with all of the stuff that Greg Tech does, but also it wasn't part of the pack to begin with. And one of the big things that I've tried to do when I took over maintaining Omni Factory is I've tried to keep it heading forward in Damien's kind of original vision for the pack. Like I didn't want to just arbitrarily change things. I always wanted there to be like a good reason. So I tried to make sure that like there was a bug that needed to be fixed and that's why I needed to change it,
Yeah.
or this particular approach was really tedious and we wanted to get rid of grind. So that's for example why we added like packaged extended crafting, because before you had to use automation interfaces on extreme crafting tables, and it was slow and error prone, and the automation interfaces had a bug where it would like dupe or void items, and that was a real pain in the butt.
Yeah.
And that's why we forked extended crafting.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
um, yeah, so that was one of the fun things, and so I've tried to not just like arbitrarily change things or just add things that didn't really have a place in the existing progression scheme.
Mhm.
Like if it was like quality of life stuff, it made sense to me. As long as it didn't just like completely obviate some existing system that was like really purposeful in its automation.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah, I think having like too much of the same thing can just kind of also overwhelm people too, right? Like things that do similar stuff
Yeah.
and
Yeah, and that's one of the things that happens in a lot of the more like kitchen sink type packs is
yeah.
you have so many machines that do basically the exact same thing from like 5 different mods, and then you're going through these like JEI rabbit holes trying to figure out what's the most optimal way to do this thing. And you spend hours just figuring out what to do. Whereas
yeah.
here it's like you do it with Greg Tech.
Yeah.
It's like that's the answer. You do it with Greg Tech. Either that or there's like some machine from, extended crafting or you know, uh, some sort of thing, but really the core is everything funnels through Greg Tech at some point.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Somebody asked kind of this is kind of interesting. Has there been any thoughts of switching the questy mod? So I'm thinking they're talking about switching out Greg Tech for something else.
Uh, I think what they're actually asking is switching out better questing for something
Oh,
like
yes.
FTB quests, maybe.
Maybe.
Because yeah, that's a question I've had a number of times, and
Okay.
we've like considered it, but honestly, better questing seems like it fits the best for our current needs. So I don't know that we would.
Yeah.
Like better questing certainly has its shortcomings, but largely it works great.
As long as like it's working and it's not broken, don't fix it, right?
Yeah. I mean, probably the only thing that was real annoying with better questing is with our quest book, we have like this gigantic file with the quest database, like this huge JSON file.
Yeah.
And I actually submitted a pull request to Better Questing quite a while ago, and I don't think they've ever merged it, but it's just like a little change. And what it does is instead of shuffling the contents of that file and causing 10,000 line diffs every time that we push it to GitHub, it sorts all the nodes in a deterministic order
Oh.
so that only the lines that actually change show up in diffs. So it goes from like 10,000 lines down to one line. So one of these days it would be cool if he would merge that, but I try not to badger people.
yeah.
I just basically made my own custom jar with that change merged into it, and I distributed it to the other developers for when we're doing quest book work.
I guess yeah. If they won't do it, I guess do it yourself, right?
Yeah, nah, it's fine. I mean, it is what it is.
yeah.
Hopefully they'll take it into consideration because that would be nice to merge, and
Yeah.
you know,
You could be like,
just one of
look,
those niceties.
look at this. It's better. It fixes it. Makes my life
Yeah,
easier and everybody else's. I don't know. Yeah.
yeah, it definitely does, and I mean it's literally like a couple lines of code. It's basically just saying, hey, when you're persisting the JSON file to disk, just sort it first. And
Yeah.
so it's not a big deal.
That's fair. Okay. What was the most game breaking bug that you did see?
Most game breaking. Hmm. That's tough to say. I guess probably one of the ones that was most startling to encounter and took a long time to fix
Mm-hmm.
uh, was there was an ID shift on blocks that happened with like Greg Tech's like blocks of materials. So, for example, if you had a version of GregTech. Um, like it would be hard without getting super technical to explain it, I guess. But
You can
suffice
get
it to say,
technical. If you want to get technical, you
okay.
can.
So the way that GregTech's material system works
Uh-huh.
is blocks have like IDs 0 through 15,
Uh-huh.
and then with materials, uh, you'd have like a different block set, and it's like a meta block, and so there's 15 different sub blocks for that particular block, so that
Okay.
you're not just creating a different block for every single material, and it's just kind of the way that they do things. And because the items that were put into place um, were uh, like they were done in encounter order.
Mhm.
So like you'd have materials with IDs, 1 through 999, and it just whatever order it encountered IDs in, and there could be gaps, it
Uh-huh.
would compact it down. So like if you had 1, 2, 4, 5, it would put them in one,
One,
two,
two,
three,
three,
and 4
4.
in the meta block
Okay.
kind of thing,
Yeah.
or 0 through 3 actually, but I digress. So so what happened is if you added a new material to the system, like a custom material, it would put it in, like if you put it in a gap somewhere, or if you put in a custom material and then GregTech added a new material in an update, then it would
Oh.
shift the block IDs.
Oh
And then the next time you
no.
load it in, your like block of polyethylene would suddenly turn into like a block of meat or something weird like that. And it was just like, what the hell?
Oh no,
So
that's horrible.
yeah, it was real crazy, and big props to I think the big players were Fanta and Dan. Um, they spent a really long time investigating like a complex system known as data fixers,
Uh-huh.
and they basically made it so that if your world was saved with a version before the data fixers had been run, it would basically go through each chunk as it loads and remap the IDs to like a deterministic order based on like where they should land.
Yeah.
And I wrote the deterministic ordering, but they figured out all the data fixers to actually remap it to that, and that makes it a lot more reliable. So any future custom IDs and stuff, you're not going to have that weird ID shift. But gosh, we probably spent, I don't know, like 4 months maybe going through and figuring all that out. It might have even been longer. I can't
Wow.
remember exactly. But
That
yeah, so that was a big weird one.
yeah,
But
that's a brutal bug.
yeah, and the other one actually I was just reminded of is the there's a system in Minecraft that I mean people might be familiar with, but it's NBT, which are like tags on items,
Okay, yeah.
and yeah, it's where like enchants and stuff show up on items, and
Yeah.
so you get like these little things, and one of the major problems that we had is certain mods do like normally like different tiers of items will be like a different meta ID, like a different damage value on an item. So
Mhm.
like you'd have like I don't know, say a flux capacitor, you'd have like the basic, then hardened, then reinforced, and they'd be like the damage value like 0, 1, and 2.
Mhm.
But then randomly for other items, they'd have a tag, then it's like level 0, 1, 2, and they'd go through like or I think maybe they started at 1, but anyways, it would go like 1 through 4, and then their creative version would be 4, but it would also have a tag that says is creative true. And it's like there is just some like weird stuff like that. And one of the problems that we ran into is with our custom recipes, the creative vending upgrade was actually like not craftable through automation,
Oh
and
no.
so it was really frustrating. Like for example, Carax did a playthrough of Omnifactory 122, and we had since fixed those issues in the dev snapshots, but he wanted to play on like a stable version,
Uh-huh.
so he basically completed all the way through to it, and super anticlimactically, he put the items in the crafting table, and he's like, "Wait, it won't craft." And it's like, yeah, you got to have like exactly the right NBT data, unfortunately. And it was just this huge mess. And I remember when I was doing fix zips, I spent literally days trying to clean
Oh,
up the energy cells recipe, for example,
yeah.
like going from just raw materials all the way up to the creative energy cell, like trying to fix all of the tags. We have kind of a term for all this called NBT hell. And yeah, oh, it's the worst. Like
Yeah.
it's caused so many of the bugs with crafting and with, like importing a recipe from JEI into a pattern and then it just doesn't work for some reason, or trying to make your crafting um, go through and just arbitrarily AE2 is like, oh, I don't see that item, and you're like, but it's in my system, it's right there, and you're like, oh no, that's a different item, it's got a different MBT tag, and it's like, but dang it.
It's special. It's special in
Yeah,
its own little way.
it's so frustrating.
I can only imagine. That would, yeah, props to you guys. That would drive me batty. I don't think I would have the persistence for that.
Yeah, I mean, we've since figured out a lot of ways to kind of work around it, but
Hmm.
part of the problem is like for some of those recipes, you have to do it in like the actual crafting table rather than through crafting automation. Because like AE2 is really particular about like, oh, it has no NBT tags versus it has uh, a tag that's just empty. So it's like the absence of tags completely versus an empty list of tags.
Hmm.
It'll be like, oh, those are two different items. And we had that happen, for example, with the what was it? The I think it's advanced dislocators from Draconic Evolution. Like just they'd craft sometimes with no tags and sometimes with an empty set of tags,
Hmm.
and then your automation would just jam because it would be
Oh
like,
no.
"Oh, I don't see this item. I'm waiting for this item to finish crafting." And it was just like, "Oh gosh."
Oh
So
no.
we did end up fixing that one. We replaced the original recipe with a custom recipe
Oh,
that just
okay.
always made it without the tags. But, just oh man, so many of the bugs are NBT. It's like probably 80% of our time is spent fixing all that.
That's fair. That's fair. Dang, you guys, I honestly, I commend you guys for like making this amazing mod pack and the amount of love and care that you've put into this. Like I know it wasn't originally yours, but you have made it your own at this point and you put so much love into it to making it a part of like you, and you have this huge community that loves it almost as much as you do.
Yeah, no, I'm very happy with it, and I'm glad that everybody's enjoying the work that we've done. We've got a lot of people saying thanks to us for taking over maintaining it, and
Mhm.
I've been very you know felt very accomplished with that sort of thing, and I'm I'm glad that everybody's enjoying what we're doing, and I'm happy to have such great help with it.
Yeah. I'm glad you took over and are continuing to work on this amazing project, honestly. Is there anything you would like to plug before we wrap this up here?
Uh,
Do you
I'm
want to
not
plug the
sure. I guess
Discord? Do you want to plug
oh, yeah. I mean, absolutely. If you're interested in the pack, join our Discord. It's linked to on our CurseForge page, right at the top. It's a little link right above the infographic, so a lot of people miss it, but it's right there. Um, and yeah, we got like something like 9,000 people in there, and
Wow.
it's pretty active. There's a lot of people in there doing things and chatting, sharing screenshots, and all that fun stuff. And there's the link to it. Thanks, Dark. um, and oh yeah, there we go. And the Discord link.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's definitely the big thing. And I'd say also too, uh, absolutely check out Prototype Trousers' AE2 fork. It like once you've used it, you just can't live without it in 112 packs. It's just so good. And keep an eye on what the Greg Tech CE unofficial guys are doing, because they're doing some amazing stuff, and like their development cycle is just, it's so fast paced it boggles the mind. They got like so many people over there that are just doing crazy stuff, and all the little preview screenshots and little videos of the things going on that they're doing looks
That's
super
awesome.
cool. So I'm looking really forward to working with that for Omega Mode.
That would be awesome for Omega Mode. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for talking to me today. I really do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to gab with us and let us get to pick your brain, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on. I've
Of
had a good time.
Yeah, of course. And for those that are just joining us or who were a little late, we will be posting this on the Akliz YouTube later, probably this week. I have to edit it. So please give me some time. It is Friday after all, and Alpha 20 did come out, so I'm gonna go watch as much as that I can. But thank you all for joining us today. We really do appreciate you being here and getting to like listen to us talk about Minecraft for an hour and a half here.
Yeah.
And well, thank you guys for everything, and we really do appreciate it. So we're gonna log off for the night. You guys have a lovely day, evening, whatever time zone you're in, and we will see you guys soon, okay?
Yeah. Thanks everybody for showing up, and thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Okay, goodbye, everyone. Thank you for watching this interview, and thank you again, Exa, for sparing some of your time to sit down to talk to me about all things Omnifactory and the future of Minecraft. If you're a mod pack developer and would like to be interviewed, please join the Akliz Discord, and let's sit down and have a conversation about your mod pack and what makes it special and unique. Also, please consider subscribing to our channel, as we plan on to put out more content like this in the future and get to talk to more and more mod pack developers. Also, next time, consider joining us live. So if you have any questions for mod pack developers, you can definitely be live on twitch.tv/Akliz Hosting, and you can pick their brains. Thank you again so much for watching. We'll see you soon.